Hello and welcome to The Rookie Guide, a short series of videos here where I try and help you fellow rookies understand the complex but also incredible world of D&D. In this video we're going to be going over skills and abilities, probably the most important part of the game, especially when it comes to your characters and making your characters. Now before we actually get onto the skills and abilities, we need to understand your ability scores. Now first thing you would do whenever you're making a character, the best thing, the most favorite thing for all people to do when you're making a character is to roll your ability scores. So there's two ways you can do this. You'll do either one, use a standard array, so you get 6 numbers already picked for you. They are 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So those are your 6 skills. You could either have them, or you can do the more interesting way, or more the way everyone else does it, is where you roll dice and personalize your scores. So you would roll 4 6-sided dice, roll them all together at once. You would take away the lowest number, and whatever them 3 dice total up, that is one of your scores. So let's say I do it and I get a 13. Great. I would have to do that 5 more times to get all 6 numbers. So then once you've got your 6 numbers, you need to understand what these numbers means, which is where our ability score modifier comes in. So as you can see on my left, there is a score, and next to that score there is either a negative, a positive, or just a 0. Whatever number you get will determine what you can add or take away from a roll. So for me, let's say I got a 13. So if we look at 13, I get a +1 to my roll, which means whatever I roll, and I need to use that specific number, I can add 1 to it. Okay? So bear in mind whatever numbers you get, this is what it accounts for. So it's very important you remember this. If you look in the player's handbook, this will be in there to help you understand it, and you can go on D&D Beyond as well, and their website, which helps you make characters, does incorporate this for you as well. So they kind of already do the math for you. So let's say you've got your 6 skills. I'm going to go with the standard array just to make it simpler. So I'm going to use the 15, 14, 13, 12, 10 and 8 just to keep it simple. So we're going to remember these numbers. We'll come back to them in a bit. So now it goes on to actually picking my abilities, or the scores for my abilities. So in D&D, or when you're making a character, your character and everything you do will be narrowed down to 6 core abilities, which is strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, as you can see on my left. Now, depending on what you want your character to be good at, you would want to put the higher numbers there. So let's use our standard array. I want my character to be very strong. That is my main thing, is I want to be really strong. So I'm going to put my 15 in strength. Next, I also want to be very agile. I want to be very athletic. I want to be mainly a sports character. So I'm going to put my 14 dexterity. I want to be very healthy. So I'm probably going to put my 13 in constitution. I don't see myself as being very charismatic. I think it's quite fun when a character is not really able to talk very well. So I'm going to put my 8, my low score, in charisma. And then the 10 and 12, I'm going to put 10 in intelligence and 12 in wisdom. Okay, so I'm quite wise but not as intelligent. Now what these abilities mean is that strength is basically for power. It's in the name, strength, power, how hard you can punch. Dexterity is for acrobatics and agility, so how well you can dodge out the way. This also affects how hard it is to hit you, so consider that when you're picking your scores, that dexterity determines how hard it is to actually get hit by any weapons. Constitution is endurance and health. Now if you want to make your character really, really healthy, or just have a bunch of hit points, just a tank of hit points, stick your points in constitution. Because that determines how many hit points you have. Also determines how long you can hold your breath underwater, which is a random skill. So if you want your bear to just be a tank, that's probably the best one to put it in. If you want your character to be intelligent, if you want them to be able to remember things very well from their past and be very good at reading books and taking in knowledge, intelligence is the one to go for. If you want to be a bit more wise, a bit more being able to read facial expressions, tell if someone's lying to you or not, probably the best one to go is wisdom. And last but not least, if you want to be very good at talking to people, if you want to be able to persuade people to do what you want, to bend them to your will with just your words, go for charisma. If you find your character is really good at talking to other people, whether it's intimidating or persuading, I would put it in charisma. The main thing to remember though is also, as we said with score, whatever scores you put in, you need to be careful which ones you put the negative ones in. So let's say if you want to be really good, you put your high score in there. Whatever you put your low scores in, be mindful you won't be good at that skill. You could get lucky, but you won't be as good. You have less chance of passing that skill. And I'll explain that now. So let's say I've got my skills and my highest is strength. Let's say I want to jump. I'm running away from guards and I want to jump over a little gap. Actually, no, let's use a better example. If I wanted to grab a rock and throw it as hard as I could, so I get a hand-sized rock and just throw it as hard as I could. That is a very simple thing. The DM or the Dungeon Master will then go, okay, make a strength check to see how far you can throw that rock, or if you can throw that rock. So then all I would do is I'd go to my strength, I'd look at my number, so I can see that my number is 15. So if we're going back to the previous slide, I can see it's 15, so it's a +2. What that means is that I will then roll a dice, roll a 20-sided dice. Let's say I got 15 on the dice. Okay, so I've got 15. I would then add, because it's a strength skill or a strength check, I would then add +2 to that dice, so then it becomes 17. So now my score is 17, which is really good. That means whatever I do with my strength, I'm going to get a little boost. I'm going to get a little help because I'm better at it. Now, and then hopefully the DM will decide whether that score is passed or not. You'll have to get a certain score to pass a certain check, but we'll go into that in another video. Now this also goes the other way. Let's say I have to convince a guard that I need to get past this gate, the security gate, to get to the other side. I need to convince him that I need to get that other side. He's not letting me through. Now obviously I said earlier that I put an 8 in my charisma, and if we go back to the previous slide, if we have a look at number 8, it is a -1. This works the other way. So if whatever I roll on a 20-sided dice, I have to take away 1. So it brings my score down. It makes it harder to hit a certain level. So let's say I rolled a 15 again, and I was trying to convince this guard that I need to get through. This is really important. My family's in there. I need to go see them. And I roll a 15. I have to take 1 away from that because I have a -1 to my charisma, and it was a charisma check, which makes it a 14. And maybe that passes or doesn't pass. That'll be up to your DM. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. Next is your skills. Now for each one of these abilities, there are certain skills that come underneath it. So things that are more specific. And this is where also proficiency bonus comes into play. So if we have a look at all the skills that you can get in total, these are all the skills that you have at your disposal. And there is a lot, as you can see. Now, to give you an understanding, the score of whatever these skills are determines on your ability. So athletics, over in the top corner, goes under strength. So whatever I have for strength, which is +2, that means my athletics is +2. Performance and persuasion, over in this corner here, are part of my charisma. Now charisma is -1, so that means my performance and persuasion are -1. These skills are there to help the DM explain, like give you a specific challenge. So sometimes you need a specific thing to do. So let's say if I'm talking, if I'm trying to convince an animal to come with me, so if I'm trying to calm an animal down, let's say there's a wild tiger and I'm trying to convince it to let me come over and stroke it and calm it down, the DM would go, okay, make an animal handling check, which is just here. Make an animal handling check. That's because it's specifically suited for animal handling. The reason these skills are here is because some characters may be skilled in specific areas. So, let's say a hunter could either be specific in stealth, because they are could be proficient in stealth, really good at stealth because they're good at sneaking around, or they could be really good at nature and tracking and understanding understanding different animals and stuff like that. You have to decide what your character is good at. Now what this means is adding a proficiency bonus. So let's say, going back to my character, I made them a sporty character. I was an athletic, sporty character. So what that would mean is when I'm choosing which one of these skills I want to be proficient in or better at or really good at, I would put a little circle next to athletics. Now obviously you can't put them for all of them, you're very limited to what you can choose. But that depends on character and race and class, but we'll go through that again in another video. So for me, I've put a little circle next to athletics. That means I'm proficient in that. So what that means, now that changes my role slightly, makes it even better. So everyone starts off with a proficiency bonus of +2. Okay, I'll explain that now what that means. Let's go back to that jump. I'm jumping over that roof. I've got to get over to the other side of that roof because I'm running away from guards. I rolled a 15. This is where my DM may say, okay, I want you to make an athletics check. So instead of just saying strength check, they would say make an athletics check. Because it's a specific skill that you're trying to do. So I was like, okay, that's good. I'm really good. I'm proficient in that. That means my athletics, I have 15 on the dice. I add 2 because my strength is +2. And then I would add another 2 because I am proficient in athletics. And it gives me another +2. That means I've got +4 now. So 15 +4, 19. That means my score is a 19. I succeed at it with flying colours. I easily leap over this gap. Now, that is basically what proficiency means. And you have to be careful which ones you choose. Now, the reason they've done this is to encourage players that they have to rely on other people and not just themselves. Because you can't be good at everything. So let's say if it comes to a situation where we're having to, here we go again, having to talk to a guard to convince him to let me through the gate. I'm not good at that. I've got a -1 to my charisma. I'm trying to persuade him, which is over in the corner over here. I'm trying to persuade him, but I'm not good at persuading. So I may look to someone else in my group that is very good at persuading. So I'd go around, who's good at talking? Someone else would go, I'm good, I'm proficient in natural persuasion. So that, okay, I'll let you have a go at it then and see if you do better than me. That's the point of this, is that you've got to rely on other members of your party to help you pass skills. It's not all just about you. So there you go. Those are your skills and your abilities and your scores and modifiers. I do hope that helps. Any issues or anything you found confusing in the video, just comment, let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If there's anything specific about Dungeons & Dragons, or there's a little bit that you just don't quite understand and you want me to help explain it, I'll happily do a little video on it. Just make sure you comment down below. Also, like these videos so then we can do more of them. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to these videos and to the channel. It really helps, and it allows us to communicate better with you guys, to understand what you guys want to see. All right, I hope you have a good day and a good week. Hope you stay safe. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. All right, bye.